Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Opportunities Connected. We're excited to have you here with us to keep you updated on ways that we can improve ourselves together. I'm Yemi Griot.
And I'm Justin Latson.
And welcome to the show. Welcome back, everybody. We're really excited to talk to you about what we're going to be doing today, and that is focusing on how we can speak up and the importance of speaking up. And I'm going to turn the floor over to my brother. What's up, Justin? Very good to see you. What are some of the things that you want to make a point on in terms of, like, I guess, the 4 points of speaking up?
100%. So, especially being a leader, a CEO, a business owner, head of a household, or even a part of a team, okay? It is so important to speak up. If you see something that's not right, if you feel a certain type of way, a lot of us feels like we need to just hold it in. We feel like we need to not elaborate on how we feel, but that's the opposite of what great leaders do. So I'm going to give you my 4 keys of how to speak how you feel, so that way you can confidently say what's going on and being able to move forward powerfully with the person you're talking to. Because a lot of times we feel if I say something, it may make the person I'm talking to upset, or I may ruin the chemistry in the room. Actually, if you don't speak up, the chemistry is already ruined. So, number 1, okay, I want you guys to really say how you feel specifically, and then stop talking right after. Listen deeply is number 1 after saying what's on your mind. Maybe if you have your own assumptions of why so-and-so is happening, it could be completely wrong. So after you say what you're saying, just stop talking and let them speak and truly listen, okay?
Right.
Number 2, say whatever you want to say as long as you say it with respect.
That's it.
Okay? It can be the worst thing in the world. You can be so angry. You can be extremely disappointed. You will never get your point truly across if you're cursing, if you're yelling, if you're being very disrespectful. So no matter what the challenge or issue is, say it with respect is number 2. Number 3, we tend to go on and on and on. I need you to stop all that, okay?
That's it.
I need you to have clear communication. Get straight to the point, okay?
That's it.
Especially with our kids, right? We tend to have one challenge, but we'll say everything underneath the sun to get our point across. You lost your child, okay? He's thinking about what's for dinner. He's thinking about when's this conversation going to end. But with your team in the workplace, they're already thinking about, this person's nagging again.
Yeah.
So, number 3, don't lecture, okay? Be clear, get straight to the point, okay? Number 4, this is so important. I know you guys all been in situations where you say how you feel and you still want to hold that grudge on your back after the situation, okay? The best leaders in the world, forgive and forget. If you make the decision, I forgive you, don't bring it up 5 months later if something similar happens to it. Don't say, I remember 5 months ago you did the same thing. No, you must truly forgive and forget.
That's it. That's it.
That's my 4 keys to speaking up right away.
I love it. I love it. And those are great steps to follow and to allow to be a guide as you move forward. We've talked about other things and tools that you can use in your toolbox. And this speaking up and those 4 key points play such a huge role into keeping honest relationships, productive relationships, whether or not it's at home, in your workplace, at school, or with your friends. And that's a part of being a good friend, is keeping each other accountable. And we went over that and who are your top five, and I
Yeah.
love it. And I like how you were saying, not allowing yourself to go on. I know we have a lot that we might want to pour on the table and stuff, and then also making sure we're not doing it in disrespectful fashion, and just and the forgive and forget, like you said. After a while, if this is something that you continue to do or continue to bring up, guess what's going to happen? It becomes white noise. They're no longer going to hear you. You
Yep,
know,
and you're the problem now.
yeah,
You're the problem now, not them.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
exactly, exactly. And so, like, I love that you can find a way to express yourself, not combatively, but expressing your boundaries and feeling, that helps improve the relationship. Go in that, go into the conversation knowing that that's the goal. Your goal is, maybe you're trying to set a boundary. Maybe, okay, uh, you're in a period or a circumstance in your life, or a circumstance in the week, or a circumstance in the day that doesn't allow you to do a certain thing, and you're being called upon um, um, uh, by your friend or by your loved one, or by your coworker to do something, and not speaking up in that instance to demonstrate, hey, look, something is going on. It puts you in an uncomfortable position. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, or I have felt in the past, the relief of letting someone know, I'm sorry, thank you for thinking of me, but I cannot make it. That pressure of having to commit to something that you aren't able to commit to it's tremendous, because it adds on top of the pressure that you already have of getting tasks done or getting work done. And so you don't want to walk into a situation where, all right, you've committed to something you can't commit to, and
Mhm.
you didn't speak up about the circumstances you're in, and now you're in this tension relationship because you're already doing all these other tasks, and now you want to be in a place where you're like, um well, you invited me to this, and I can't come to it, and you're always making me do this and making me do that, and it's this explosiveness that didn't need to be there originally, if you spoke up in the first place and just set that boundary and just saying, hey, thanks for thinking of me. In fact, they'll consider it next time and say, hey, are you free at this time, or help? And you can even say, look, I like hanging out with you. I want to hang out with you, but I plan things out, a little bit ahead. I plan things out at least a month and ahead, because I try to keep in mind all the activities with my kid. And they understand, because more than likely, whoever's in your top five or the folks you work with, so on, they also have other activities that they have to do as well. You can just
And
say,
you and I had this conversation actually, and it just brings me back to a quote that I like love. Silence is acceptance. So if you
yes,
don't speak on it, you're allowing it, you're accepting it. Now, in the workplace, being a manager, high level manager, owner, it's we get this mindset of I don't want to correct this hardworking team member
right,
because I don't want them to think that I don't appreciate the work that they do.
right. You feel like that might discourage them. Yep.
Yes, I used to struggle with that a lot. So in my early years of managing a great team is like we only bring people on board that's better than us, right? So it's like for me to correct someone that's better than me, do I have the fear of losing them? But it does the opposite. Okay.
Yeah.
When everybody is holding each other accountable, no matter how small, you
Yeah.
must bring it up.
Yeah.
Okay. And get straight to the point. Don't lecture. Ask them, is there anything I can do to help you?
Right.
Okay. To prevent this from happening again. And if things are good, man, that's a win.
Yep.
That's a
Yep.
win in the
And
workplace.
think about those 4 points. If you're coming in, you're not lecturing, you're coming in, you're not being disrespectful, you can cushion it. You can walk in, if you're trying to show appreciation, thank them for the support that they provided, or for being there or doing a certain thing. Share what you want to share, and then thank them again for listening to you.
That
And that,
sandwich method. Yes.
yeah, and it cushions your message there, and that's not like a form of being soft. That's a form of delivery to make sure you're being heard,
Mhm.
and also so that you're still setting your boundary, and you both are keeping each other accountable. In fact, it ends up being an example that they can use and transition elsewhere. In fact, I think I learned that from you, Justin. In fact, you talked about it in a prior episode that we had, and I've seen you demonstrate it where you talk to your students, including me,
Mhm.
when we do our training. Hey, your kicks, they're great. You're doing it really good. You know where you need your help right here in your form. In your form, you can adjust this. But when you do it, you won't believe how amazing it is. And that I receive it. I just want to do it. It makes me want
Yep.
to follow through on it. And so those are the type of steps you can use to speaking up. And the reason why I believe it was important for us to bring this up is because sometimes not speaking up puts you into situations where and I was saying this before, where you become frustrated and it creates a problem that you didn't really need or didn't already have. And so helping to avoid that problem, like you were saying, the silence is expect is another form of acceptance. And I see it and hear it in meetings all the time, or even see it in instances where someone has backed down and not said what they wanted to say in a conversation. When you don't take that moment to speak up, and speaking up doesn't have to be you being abrupt or like you're very acute with anger. Speaking up is just self-advocating, setting boundaries, keeping accountable, or even just expressing yourself or where you stand with things. It helps you to avoid future or further situations that can lead to frustration or resentment, and that's not what you need. You don't need any additional stuff. What's that
Correct.
saying? Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yep, 100%. And to add on, it's like for those who are listening, you've been in the same position for a while. You know your worth, you know your value, but you haven't asked for a raise. You haven't
Right,
actively asked for an increase of pay, no matter how small. Here from I own a business, right?
right,
If somebody just randomly ask me for a raise, my first mindset is not, why are you asking me for a raise? My first mindset is, what value have you brought to the company?
right.
Okay. So if you are putting in that work, if you know you're working hard, don't be silent. Just ask for that raise. And when they say, you know what, your sales are high or you're always on time, I have no choice but to give this hard worker a raise because I don't want to lose him.
Yeah,
I'd rather keep you on the squad than lose 5% raise for you. Or yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it makes sense. That goes to the whole self-advocating and speaking up.
Yeah.
Those, your teammates, your friends, your coworkers, your whether or not you have subordinate staff or your children will respect the accountability if you also are showing that appreciation and them being accountable with you. When you are sharing that as an example, as a good example of, hey, I want to make this a very structured environment. There's some accountability here. I care about your safety, so please don't run off into another neighborhood. This is to your child. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Though they respect that, they also understand that there's value that they're bringing to the team, whether or not you're saying, look, I like that you are doing the dishes. I like that when we get home from a place, as I'm bringing in groceries, you're saying, how can I help? And so they start to share that same advocacy, self-advocacy, and say, I've been helping, I've been doing my part and doing well in school. You've asked me to study. May I have more screen time? Because I know the new value nowadays is not so much to what's that, the allowance that I was used to when I was coming up. It's more in
Yeah.
terms of like, can I get more screen time? um, but whether it's allowance or screen time, those are whatever drives them. They look at as a possible incentive, and so you say, sure, of course, we're going to measure this out. But yeah, yes, I respect that. Let me look at the value you're bringing to the team. Yeah, I like that. As long as we keep up, our agreement that when we come in from places that you're also providing support with groceries, or you're putting your dishes away when you take them to the sink, or you're cleaning up after yourself, or you're making sure you're following through on your studies. Definitely, we'll look at how we can expand the screen time or
And
introduce it.
parents, yep, and parents, it's an agreement. That means two parties coming together. So if they're doing their part, like they're stepping up,
Yeah,
don't take away their screen time. Don't like negotiate with them, allow them to have more screen time if they're consistently doing what you want of them, and then thank them and use your communication to acknowledge why they're getting that extra screen time every single time. This makes parenting so much easier. I'm a parent with 4 kids, so I
Yeah.
come from a spot, and you're a father as well. So we use this in our day to day. Like all my kids have very alpha mentalities. They
Yeah.
will challenge you on everything. And if I just walk around with a hammer and they're putting in that extra work, but I don't give them that extra play time or extra screen time, then why do they need to work hard?
Right.
Okay, what's the point? So I acknowledge their hard work. I acknowledge their grades. I acknowledge the helping their siblings out. And then it's easy.
Yeah.
It's
Because
easy.
speaking up isn't just about speaking up about you setting boundaries or expressing yourself. It's also showing support. It's also
Yeah.
not just self-advocating, but advocating for others.
Others.
It's also about showing appreciation, and that's another thing. And I love that you do that as well. One of the things that I loved and what attracted me to your martial arts was how each of your teammates, including the classmates, they all speak up for each other. They all are supportive of each other. No one is tearing the other one down. And when you're in situations where you believe that someone is being harassed, I know we live in a crazy world. Not that the world wasn't always crazy, but right now things seem just a little more acute in terms of if you believe a coworker is as being verbally attacked or in a place of danger, or if you believe a neighbor or a fellow classmate, or even you see a situation, you should speak up.
Mhm.
It's a very good thing to speak up. Maybe you don't need it doesn't necessarily need to be you being confrontational with a person who's doing the attacking, but you need to make an authority aware of what's going on so that that person has the support they need in order to move through their day safely and then get out of that situation. So speaking
Um,
up is also go ahead.
yeah, on my team, this I love that you say that to the team. If you do not speak up, if you see something, you're just as wrong.
Yep.
So not only do we terminate the person that's harassing, we terminate the people that may have known about it. Everybody on our team is actively looking to help each other out.
Yes.
Okay, we weed out the bad seeds all the time, and like that's if they can even make the cut to be a part of the team.
Yeah.
Like we literally have a motto, like our team, we have the mindset of we're the best because we want the best people. We have the best kids that we teach. We are not the best if we see something and don't say something.
Yep.
Okay, so I love that you said that.
Yeah, man. Great minds think alike. On top of that, speaking up is something you might recognize. Some of your best teammates or your friends or your loved ones might not be doing, and part of advocating is also letting them know or feel welcome or comfortable in the space to let them know they can speak up,
Mhm.
express yourself. Like I one thing I've tried to become more conscious of and stuff. And I'm a talker. I like to be to converse with others. I like to do presentations. I did the world of entertainment before, so I'm interested in doing those types of things. But I become more self-aware about when I'm having a conversation with others, allowing others to speak, actually stepping back and listening to what they say, or recognizing when someone might want to speak up, but they aren't at the same level of comfort as some of our other teammates or friends in the group. And you want to encourage them to speak up and say, what you have to say, what you want to share is just as important. I want to hear your thoughts on it and actually listen. Listen, don't be distracted. Sometimes the phone can be distracting. Sometimes the TV can be distracting. Pause something, put something away. If you're in the middle of a text and somebody's saying something super important to you, just put the phone face it down and just
Yeah.
listen. And I've been guilty of it also. We're all in this multi device world where we're surrounded by screens. In fact, I think, there was just an introduction of a new virtual device where you're going to put an entire, you know, goggles set on
Yep.
where where it wasn't enough that you had your physical devices, but now you're going to be able to see people and then screens and dots and applications around them. So
Yep.
who knows what the
Take
world.
off those goggles,
Exactly.
listen to your kids, listen to your spouse.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, man. And then that's a part of it. And sometimes the speaking up is letting the other person know, hey, I really need you to listen in this moment. I know that sometimes we talk in passing with each other, and it's okay if you're looking at your device because that was already an action that's being taken, or you're in the process of looking up a solution. Maybe you just say, hey, I don't need for you to immediately act on this. I don't need for you to find a solution right away. I just want you to listen.
Yes.
And
And a
just
ninja tip, right? I do this all the time. After you're finished talking, take down notes. That
yes.
is very important to the
Ah,
person you're speaking to. If they bring up their favorite sports team, if they bring up something that's very important to them, put that in the note section under their contact. When you randomly send them a message or, hey, I got us tickets to this sports game, I know you like them, you become a greater level friend.
yep.
Remember those small details.
Yep.
Okay. Uh,
Even go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, you're good. All
I
you.
was even at work when I've had conversations or meetings, and whether it's a virtual or in-person meeting, one thing that's always great that I try to make sure I instruct or guide or just say and speak up to say, please email me that. Let's set up a time to talk about that. Please email me that because that way it locks it in. Because sometimes you might pass someone at their desk, or you might be headed out to grab a coffee. You see something, hey, remember this project? Can we add this and this and that? Or remember that
Key.
notice you
Mhm.
put out? Can you add this? I always respond, say, yes, I can. I'd love to make those changes, but just to ensure that I don't forget your suggestions, can you please email me those suggestions?
I
That
love that you say that. I am so guilty of just move, 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 which is why I have that admin that, hey, Justin, don't forget everything sent via email because I
yep.
was yes to everybody.
Exactly, exactly. That's the thing,
Yep.
some of us are busier than others, but we all have busy lifestyles, like we said, with the amount of devices. Even those who I know aren't like device heavy still have more devices than we used to have. And I'm dating myself, coming up in the 90s, when we used to just have call waiting and a long cord to the phone. One of one of the things that we want to remember is with all of the distractions, the memory, man, we're trying to remember so many things. It's okay to take notes. It's okay to ask someone to send you something. It's okay. You know, a lot of us are guilty of it. I can admit the forgetting names thing. So one of the things that I try to do is say, hey, can I let's exchange the information. I'm gonna
Your
text
full
you
name. Yep.
right now, and I'm gonna say in there what my name is. Just respond with the same thing, so I make sure I'm spelling your name correctly. And they might say it's Mike. All right, no problem, Mike. Just text it to me,
Yep.
so that I have it locked in here, and I can know when we see each other. I know that you're Mike. When we talk to each other, I remember what we were talking about because, we all have things on our plate. We want to recognize and respect that about each other and speak up about it so that we can say, hey, Mike, dude, thank you for inviting me out to that time to a great opportunity to do lunch or coffee with you. Unfortunately, I have a meeting at this time. Can we reschedule and do it at another time? That
100%.
speaking
Yeah.
up right there helps to set expectations, helps to set boundaries, helps to make Mike feel comfortable of doing the same thing.
And most importantly, it frees your mind. You're
Freeze.
not thinking about so much. I would say it's better that you have them email you or text you because the less you have to think about, the less stressful you become.
Oh man, it's a
100%.
godsend. I tell you, I'm not in a position where I have to be like, okay, well, what was it? Well, what did they say? Where I can say, I remember I told them to email me the information. I can go into my email and look up that information. Or I I remember I took notes about this, or did we add that to the calendar? Let's click that on the calendar. I love
Organization is key, 100%.
yes, it
And
is.
the last part of communication I want to bring up before we end this amazing live is some of you guys have a spouse that will go and do the things that you like to do.
Right.
And then eventually they become stressed. And they're saying everything's okay, but you could tell, you could feel the tension,
Yeah.
but they're always doing only what you want to do. And then out of nowhere, you may hear this, right? You may hear, I'm always doing things for you. And then you're like, whoa, where did that come from? I thought that this is what you wanted to do because you didn't speak up. Oh,
Right.
don't tell her she didn't speak up, by the way, or he.
Yeah.
But they didn't speak up on the things they like to do.
Yeah.
But if you notice this trend, it's okay to get ahead of the game and then sit down and say, hey, what are some things that you are interested in?
Yeah.
What are some things you would like to do? Not just for hobbies, not just for vacations, but on the professional side as well.
Yeah.
Okay. My wife manages my company with me. Okay. So I opened it. We got married. She came on board. And then I had to step back and say, what do you like doing?
Yeah.
She started her own YouTube channel. She's good at it. And like hundreds of thousands of views within months. And but it took me to stop and say, look, she's only working the company that I started. I'm assuming that this is what she wants to do. And I can feel that tension.
Yeah.
Ever since I took the time to step back and say, let's put prestige aside, let's put business aside. What do you want to do?
Right.
And it's
Right.
going to be hard at first. She's going to say, hey, I want to do what you like to do.
Yep.
Not say it like that, of course, but list the things that you're currently doing.
You're right. You're right.
Give
Understood.
her some time, or your spouse, your partner, give them some time to really lay out what they want to do. And it's your job to support them no matter how ludicrous it sounds.
That's
Okay.
it. 100%.
I'm
And
not
then,
saying invest tens and thousands and millions of dollars into a brand new project, but there's cheaper ways of doing it.
that's it.
That free. There's sources everywhere.
You
So
you you hit it right on the nail, because a part of all of this fluid motion, whether or not it's your work, your business, your children, your relationships with your partner, relationship with your friends, it's all one motion. It's all kind of flowing together. One can easily impact the other, and you just like you're demonstrating that comfortable environment with your friends or with your coworkers. You want to do the same thing with your partner and say, I'd like to hear your thoughts also. And their thoughts might be, you should already know. I've been there.
yeah.
I've been grateful to be in a place where I should already know. And then one thing that you can do in terms of speaking up and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? I'm thinking about going here. What do you think? And like you said, it's like jumping out ahead of it. Don't allow things that don't need to be issues and issues. Speak up, express yourself, listen to those 4 key points.
4 keys. Listen deeply. Respect. If they say you already know, you're absolutely right. I should already know. But since we're all growing, I want to know if you have any new hobbies.
That's it.
Be respectful. Flip it back on your partner. It's okay. Be very clear, like how I just was. Yes, I should know. I just want to know if there's any new hobbies that you like. Okay. And
Speaking,
then,
yep, go ahead.
uh, and this doesn't really, the fourth key doesn't really, is not a part of this situation.
Right.
But don't forget what she wants to do.
Oh yeah, and forgive and forget applies to circumstances where forgive and forget are applicable.
Boom.
Forgetting what you need to do is a totally different thing. But speaking of speaking up, we'd love for you to reach out to us. There's the email. It's right there on your screen, info@talkconnected.com. If I haven't mentioned it before, make sure you subscribe and like us, share us with your friends and family. We'd love to have you all be a part of this growth with us. We are excited to share this every time we join you here on Opportunities Connected.
Let's grow. We're a family. You with us. Share, like, let
That's
your friends know about us. Let's grow together. You guys are a part of our growth, and
And
we're
we
going
are
to share
part,
everything with
yep,
you.
and we're a part of yours. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. I'm Yemi Grillo.
I'm Justin Latson.
See you next time on Opportunities Connected.